Welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Cleaning Business Owner. Today we're going to be talking all things contracts and terms and conditions. So I get asked an awful lot, why do I need a contract? Because I'm really good friends with my customers. Is this necessary? What's the point of it? So I'm going to throw that to you, Diane, first of all. Do we even need contracts as domestic cleaners?
The thing with contracts of any kind in anything are they protect you and they protect your customers. So without them in place, then nobody has protection against any of the problems that can arise. And, one of the things we call them contracts, it frightens everybody. Call them terms and conditions, that doesn't seem quite so frightening. They're actually the same thing, aren't they?
Yes, and I struggle to get my head around that to begin with, because you're so used to, like, you sign up and you buy an aeroplane ticket, or you get utilities and you sign the contracts. And now this is the next question, signing it. Do we need to get them to sign it? Like, how enforceable are these? Like, tell me more.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, having them signed is definitely the right solution. We in ours we send them out and they agree to them, so it is a signature as such now. So I do think it's better to get them signed, and then everybody knows what they're committing to. But they don't have to be signed to be enforced, do they?
No, and I've got to say, so we looked into this extensively, and there's like Adobe Sign, there's a few signature technologies, do you call it, apps, software. They can get quite expensive. I know when we were looking at like Adobe Sign, it was something like 30-40 pounds a month. And so we now add it to the bottom, like the footer of all the emails. I think it's on our website, might not be, I can't remember, it's my job to keep that updated. But it's sent out to absolutely everybody at every quote stage, and we say, look, if you go ahead, you are agreeing to these terms and conditions, whether you sign it or not. We can prove that we've sent it to you, we can prove that we've drawn your attention to it. If you now deny it, it's not going to work particularly well.
Yeah. What we found though was, because we send out our terms and conditions as part of the welcome process, if you like, when we sign up a new client. So they get a welcome email, and attached to that welcome email are our terms and conditions and a bit of an outline as to what we've agreed as well, or in the contents of the email. But what we were finding was they weren't always seeing that email. Sometimes it would go into junk, and then of course, we then do a courtesy call, if you like, a couple of days before their first clean. And we were finding that sometimes on that courtesy call, they've not received that welcome email and the terms and conditions. So it can be quite, unless you've got a system in place that actually checks that they've received the email, or a system that they sign the terms and conditions, you're not always clear that they have seen them. So yeah, but your system of sending them out all the time, I suppose, covers that a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, it's attached to the quote. They can't go
Yeah.
ahead with the clean without a quote. They have
Yeah.
to agree to the quote. So therefore they have absolutely seen them and had them. So
Yeah.
I guess it depends when you wait. And it's quite interesting when you say about having them in the welcome email, because look, some of our contracts, and we have 4 different contracts in the DCBN, they're wordy and they're like scary language in some of them. And I love that you can put it in a welcome email and change it to like frequently asked questions. And one of the things in a lot of them is cancellation clauses and how much notice do I need to give. Just make it into a frequently asked questions sort of cover letter. How much notice do I need to give? Because that's what they want to know. They don't want to read the annoying legal documents, really, do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, our frequently asked questions are insurance,
Yeah.
cancellation, what's the other one? Payment terms.
Yeah.
And also, we have a little bit in our frequently asked questions, I love my cleaner, can I have her, kind of thing. And that kind of, it's a nice, gentle way of saying, actually, there's a recruitment fee, and, for taking any of our staff. But that's in our sort of frequently asked questions, but it's on a long list but they're, the way that they're phrased, they're quite gentle, if that makes sense. But the terms and conditions are there as well, but those frequently asked questions just highlight the core things.
And this brings me on to, so the DCBN actually has 4 different contracts, doesn't it? It has a 1-page cleaning agreement.
Yeah.
It has, I think the big cleaning agreement is about 8 pages long, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think. We have a holiday let agreement and a commercial cleaning terms. So
Yes.
4 different ones, depending what you need. And people always say to me, which one is the best one? And I'm like, look, my favorite one is the 1-page cleaning agreement, because it's written in simple language, it's really succinct. And they're like, but is it going to protect me? And I'm always a bit like, look, no, it's not going to give you the same level of protection as the 8-page perfectly written one. But ultimately, as cleaners, we're relatively low risk. Can you enforce it? Yes, and I have enforced them in court. That particular document I've enforced in court plenty of times. But I think it just makes it easier all round to put it into everyday language.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually think all documentation should be in everyday language, because otherwise both parties might not understand it. But yeah, I agree with you. I like the simple version. For domestic clients, I like the simplified version, so long as it includes those core things that need to be in there, like the cancellation policy and like the payment terms. So long as they're in there, then that one pager is perfect. For commercial, it's different. It needs to be that more in-depth one. But for domestic, I think the one pager is perfect. And yeah, you can adapt it though for your business, can't you?
And so this is, I was saying to you, I got a phone call. Whoever did this, completely forgot your name. I'm so sorry. I got a phone call at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh, if I'm honest, I hadn't actually got out of bed yet. How bad was that? My husband was doing school drop off. Going, Louise, tell me about this contract. Which one do I need? And how it says DCBN all the way through it. So in the contract, it needs to say your company name. But instead of putting your company name, because everybody's different, we put DCBN. All you need to do is download it, edit it, and it's really easy. We make it so you can download it in Word or whatever document you want to. Then just everywhere it says DCBN in capital letters, so it's nice and obvious, change all of those into your company name. Now, you can do this in Word. You can literally do find and change, can't you? It'll do all, I think there's 27 in there, all 27 at once. But yeah, if you want to do it by hand, each one, that works for me too.
Yeah, and you can put your logo on there, can't you? And you can make it your business document. And I know that one of the two things that you recommend they change or adapt for their business are the cancellation policy,
Yeah.
And payment
So
terms.
I put that cancellation policy in, and obviously we get them checked by HR and legal, but I put it as the very maximum. I put in there, you've got to give 4 weeks notice of any changes to any cleans. Now, for a lot of people, that is way too much. That's totally unreasonable. And they say, no, I want, 24 hours notice, 1 week's notice. So, if you left it with our standard terms and conditions, it absolutely protects you. But you might think, come on, that's ridiculous. 4 weeks is insane. So change it if you want to. And then payment terms, change it to what you want to do.
And there was a reason, I remember, that you said if we put a 4-week cancellation policy in there, people will always put it down. Whereas if we put a 24-hour cancellation policy in there, actually sometimes people might not even think that that's acceptable. So it's better to have it higher, and then people will make it a bit lower to suit their business.
Yeah, but you can have it whatever you feel reasonable. But yes, we knew people were more likely to make it nicer. So we made it harsh. We don't necessarily agree with that, but have it in there. Yeah, so the next one then, Diane, enforcing these contracts. How enforceable are these, and what do people normally want to enforce?
I think the one that people shy away from enforcing the most is the cancellation policy, which we've mentioned. And the contracts that you have in place with your customers, the terms and conditions you have in place with your customers, provided you've actually notified your customer that these things exist, they're absolutely enforceable. Whether you choose to enforce them is another matter. And sometimes, around the cancellation policy, we can be quite flexible in our business because we're large. And actually, if a customer cancels, sometimes we're quite grateful because we've got maybe staffing challenges that day. But if you're a smaller business, a solo cleaner, for example, then a cancellation to you actually has a bigger effect than it does on our bigger business. So you would probably want to enforce that policy. But they're definitely enforceable. There's nothing unreasonable about having a policy in place that if a customer cancels in the morning, that you should still get paid. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, but what I like about these is your terms and conditions, you can choose how to enforce them. So, for example, you might say, right, you owe me 100% of the clean. And then you decide, actually, it's a really good customer. We clean them for 8 hours a week. They've been with me 4 years. They're really not happy at what I've just done. maybe we could take it down to 25%. You can do that. But ultimately, if you went, no, you're absolutely, like, you booked in a 20-hour end of tenancy and you cancelled it 2 hours beforehand, no, actually, you do need to pay me 25% or whatever. Or you do an end of tenancy, a massive one, and then they don't pay you. There was nothing wrong with the clean, they just don't pay you. You've then got these to back you up. And the first thing that happens when you go to small claims court is they will say, do you have a contract? And 50% or probably more of domestic cleaners will turn around and go, no, I don't. Well, there is no excuse. You know, if you want to win in court, literally having the contract, that's enough. As long as you have the contract, anything else is just semantics almost. You are going to win that court case pretty much, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually our terms and conditions for one-off cleans is that we take 100% payment in advance. So that saves any problems around cancellations and, you know, not non-payment straight away. But that's our terms and conditions. Now, some people I know have said to me over time, gone, that's far too extreme. You can't do that. And it's like, well, yes, we can. It's in the contract, and we don't take the booking unless they agree to it. So
that's the thing, they don't have to go with you. I mean, you've got plenty of competition, just like me. If they don't like what you do, go somewhere else. Go somewhere where they don't charge you up front. But
yeah, absolutely.
So, ChatGPT, or there's lots more now, aren't there? There's various AI models. There is a theory that you can get these documents straight off ChatGPT. Why would you pay someone like the DCBN or anyone else? What's your thoughts on this one?
I mean, ChatGPT, you know, we've been using it for a long time, probably longer than most, actually. And we were probably one of the early adopters, weren't we? And we put out some training about how to use it a long time ago now, probably nearly a couple of years ago now. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of ChatGPT and similar AI software. But what I found with it is actually what you get out of it is based on the questions that you ask. And often, when it comes to client contracts and employment contracts as well, is if you don't put in the right question, you won't get the right answer. So there are certain ways of using ChatGPT, whether it's making sure it uses UK spelling and making sure it applies UK law is really important. But also, if you simply ask ChatGPT to write a client contract for my cleaning business, there might be things in there that you don't want. There might be things in there that there might actually be things that aren't in there that you should have. So it's great and it can give you an outline, but it's not necessarily the perfect solution unless you can adapt it yourself. But yeah, there's no doubt actually now that, you know, you can get a lot of things. Sorry, my phone rang then. I'm going to have to say that again. It was right in front of the microphone as well. So, yeah, there's no doubt that you can get lots of things from ChatGPT and lots of contracts and information from ChatGPT if you ask it the right questions, but you need to make sure it's adapted. And I suppose the DCBN documents, we've already adapted them for you, so it makes it nice and easy. But yeah, it's all out there for free now.
I think there is one thing I would say about the document. So I started off when I first got my contract, I actually used an adapted one from a dog walking contract because, you know, it's both home services. It wasn't that different. And I got a lawyer actually to go through it and they customized it and it worked well. But gradually over the next decade, little things cropped up. So, for example, one of the things was we got stuck waiting outside a customer's house for half an hour because they forgot to leave us the key. Well, that's not covered in most contracts. So then I wanted a clause for that. And then I got hacked off that we would cover things that got broken during the course of cleaning. So I was like, well, this isn't fair. If you've got like a faulty fixture or fitting, it's not my fault that broke. So then we started to add in things like that. And I think there was about there's about 8 clauses in there that from experience, I went, no, that has to be in there. And then I'd have to go back and go, right, let's rewrite this because and there ends up being quite a lot of things. And so now when people read some of these contracts, and I'm talking particularly about the one-page cleaning agreement, there are things they're going, do I need that? Do I need that? And I'm like, well, yes, you do. And this is why it went in there, because this is what happened. And very rarely do we put something in the contract on the first time it happened. It's normally by the 3rd or 4th time that we're going, oh, no, 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 no. This now needs to give us protection. This is not our problem. It's yours.
Yeah, we were exactly the same, fixtures and fittings, having from it experience faulty fixtures and fittings, and then we're expected to pay for the damage, meant we changed our insurance clause.
Yeah.
Early on.
And so there are some things in the DCBN documents that you go, with this only customer experience, there's no way any AI is going to come up with that level of experience, because it's not a standard documentation. Lawyers and HR are not going to come up with knowing what's going to happen, because it's so specific to our industry.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why the DCBN documents kind of outperform your standard document, because you can have it written with the best lawyers in the world, but if they don't know what you're going to encounter, whereas it's that hands-on knowledge that makes our documents so good.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can get them for free, but you also get them included in membership, which you get all the other benefits at the same time, don't you? And they're perfectly editable and they're tailored for our industry. But we've got something else up our sleeve, haven't we, Louise?
Well, I'm going to let you explain this one, because as good as our documents are, and they are good, there is a way that you can now get them. Not only can you get our documents for free, you can get the full membership packet for free, including your support calls. So on a Monday, you get one-on-one support calls for 15 minutes every Monday on whatever subject you want to do. You've got all the training videos. You've got, I'm not going to sit and plug DCBN, because hopefully by now they know everything that's included, but you can get it for free. And you've been trialing this, haven't you? We've partnered with DocFlight. So for those that don't know, what is DocFlight and why have we actually put this package in place for our members? What's the benefits?
So DocFlight are a document management system. So they're a way of making paperwork easier, basically. And most of us, business owners in our industry and outside our industry, hate paperwork, and we find it annoying, and we put off doing it, and also we find it hard to track. So what DocFlight have is a system that allows you to manage your paperwork, send out paperwork, and track what's happening with it, and just manage lots and lots of different documents in your business. And it started out really being around sending out quotes for commercial cleans and then managing the contract side of commercial cleans. But it's grown from that. This is going back a few years. It's grown from that, and we use it in our business for our employment contracts. It's part of our recruitment process now. So they get sent out their contract, they get sent out their handbook, and they sign it as part of the process. And it is just a brilliant system, and it's being adapted. So what we've been working on with DocFlight is how we can actually make it even better specifically for the cleaning industry. So we are now partnering with DocFlight so that they have all of our documents in their system. So any document that's in the DCBN library is now going to be included in the DocFlight system, so that our members and non-members can manage all their documents through an amazing system. That's basically the.
And I think this is the reality, isn't it? Because we talk about our documents being really good, but the reality is we're quite open. ChatGPT will get you something. Will it be as good as ours? No, but it'll get you something. The issue isn't, can you get a contract? Can you get a key holder agreement? Can you get, there's 100 documents. Can you get them? Yes, you can. The problem for most business owners is the system of getting it out to people at the right time, remembering it, and everything else. And I know there's a lot of people that go on our library of documents that get completely overwhelmed, going, this is ridiculous, I don't need most of it. But the reality is you probably do, but you're choosing not to use it because you don't know how to properly enforce it. And so I know, how many people do you speak to where they go, right, I went round to the customer's house, I spent 20-30 minutes doing a quote, I've then spent an hour writing it up, and that's what I'm shocked by, that people spend an hour writing up a quote, but come on, anyway, even if you're not using DocFlight, you should have a template. But anyway, so you spend an hour writing it up, you send it out, and I say to them 2 weeks later, so what happened? Oh, I don't know. Did you chase it up with them? Were there automated follow-up emails? Do you even know if they read it? Did you get the email right? And so hands up, I've got to say, we don't use DocFlight because, and the only reason I don't is because we custom wrote all our systems years ago. And I know the cost that went into having our custom written systems. We are talking for what DocFlight does, and to be fair, we don't do them. We're talking in the tens of thousands of pounds, because what we realized is it gave us such a competitive advantage to be able to do this, that if I'm honest, there's a part of it that goes, oh, I don't want everyone to have DocFlight, because we've had a competitive advantage for the last probably 8 years. And so now I've looked at DocFlight and I'm going, oh, it's probably better than my system, but I'm not loving that. Now it's allowing a one-man band without your tens of thousands of pounds worth of investment to compete with the big boys, because you can just get out quotes that much faster. It's the heat map, isn't it? You can see where they've read, have they read it? You've got that document signing on there that costs us quite a bit of money to make sure they've signed it. And I'm like, right, okay, so you now can produce it so much cheaper than we can, and it's better. Oh, brilliant. Oh, and you do employment contracts and every other system in your business. Great.
Yeah, people are using it for staff to request stock, do stock requests. They're using it for, like, say, employment contracts, employment handbooks. They're using it for quotes. They're using it for terms and conditions, which is what we've been talking about on this. Pretty much any document where you require somebody else to see it. I even used it before Christmas to notify my staff of their bonuses, in order that I would get them to acknowledge that they'd seen it. They kind of signed, but I would just needed to know that they'd opened this email, because it was important, because the follow-up one was going to be for them to get a voucher code. So I needed to know, and it was just brilliant for that, because I could see who'd opened it, I could see who hadn't. And the lovely thing about DocFlight, of course, is it automates the follow-up for you. So if somebody hasn't opened it, or has opened it but not signed, it sends them reminders for you. So you don't even need to worry about that. And when you log into your DocFlight account, you have a whole dashboard that tells you what's been sent, what's been signed, what's completed, and you can just follow it through on this dashboard and see exactly what's going on. So we had a new starter this week, and as of Thursday last week, she hadn't yet signed her contract, but I could see that reminders were being sent out. If I wanted to, I could have sent her a little message myself. I didn't need to, because it all got sorted. But we start to panic on the Friday before the Monday starter. Oh, well, they're probably not going to turn up if they haven't signed their contract. So, but the system was there that was notifying us as to what was going on. She did thankfully sign her contract on Friday, and she started on Monday. So it was great. But it's all so automated. And in the system that we've set up, she signs the contract, and then immediately on signing the contract, she gets a copy of her employee handbook, which she then has to read and acknowledge that she's seen it. So it was covering off all the handbook covers off all the policies, whereas the contract is the basic terms and conditions. So it's just a perfect system for not just making paperwork simpler, but for helping you monitor it. And it was interesting you were saying about quotes. I know when I used to go out and do quotes, and particularly when I then had to follow it up, I'm not always very reliable on the follow-up. So sometimes, and I've spoken to other business owners, they're the same, I'll go out and do a quote, and then it's 3 days before I send the quote, because that is not the exciting bit. It's the boring paperwork bit, isn't it? And it was interesting that actually DocFlight, because it's so easy to send a quote, you don't have to tailor every single quote, because it helps you do it anyway. You just put in the information, the company name that you're sending the quote to, and everything else is all templated for you. You put in the price, you put in the start date. That's it. You don't have to rewrite it. And it was interesting because you were saying about people taking our documents and getting overwhelmed at how they have to edit them. Well, DocFlight will do it for you. So it just does it all for you. It's a system all in one. But what's really exciting, and I don't even know if we're allowed to announce this yet, Louise, are we?
I've just announced it, haven't I? I've already opened with it. I've wrecked it.
No, we're going to do it anyway, aren't we? But the DocFlight system, the partnership that we've put together is actually, when you sign up to DocFlight now, you get free DCBM membership. So it's hopefully, well, we're excited about it. We hope that people that aren't members yet are going to be excited that actually they get to sign up for this amazing document system, and they get free membership. So yes, they've got all the documentation, which they would get with DocFlight now anyway, but they get everything else that comes with DCBM membership. And our members who are already DocFlight customers will get the price of their membership taken off the price. So massive discount for our members, current members, but also a big incentive, we hope, for new people to join both parties. Really, they get the benefit of DocFlight and DCBM membership all included.
And the reason why it's so beneficial, because you might think, well, why have you partnered? How does this benefit? And I think for the customer, what DocFlight were finding is they are really good and they will help set this up and they can help get your systems going. But a lot of businesses will grow better once they're given support as well. And obviously, every business supplier, so software supplier, wants your business to get bigger because they know you'll spend more money with them, quite frankly. And so by partnering with us, we help businesses get bigger and bigger and bigger, which means that you grow, you get that support from us, that one-on-one support. And if you want system support, go to DocFlight. They're going to be fantastic at that. But it's things like, it's all our normal coaching calls, isn't it? What do I do with this employee? Where do I go for this? How can I get free training on this? It's all the things that you just wished you had a mentor on hand to go, you've been through this, just tell me the answer. Don't make me slog it out and find it myself. And we're like, yeah, there you go. Oh, by the way, even if DocFlight don't do it, it'll be in our package. Let's send it to you if you don't already have it. And I think that's why it benefits just everybody, because the better the cleaning businesses get, the more we as suppliers, we get grown alongside them, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I've been most impressed with DocFlight as a customer, but also as a DCBN partner over the last year or so, is how adaptable they are to the industry and how responsive they are to their customers, in that, a customer only has to pretty much say to TJ or Elaine, I'd like this document in the system. Can you do it? And they're like, absolutely, yes. The answer is yes. Because their system is amazing and it can take on board whatever we need for it.
So there's 3 levels of service with DocFlight, isn't there? 3 levels, and it's not there's a basic level, isn't there?
Yeah.
And is the next one called, I'm going to say it wrong, is it the pro level? Which one?
It's the middle level. Yeah.
It's the middle level. It's the middle level. So the basic one is really for startups, where actually it'd be really, really useful to you. But actually, if you want the full package, everything that is included in DocFlight and the DCBM membership, that's where you get the free DCBM membership. That's your middle package. And we should definitely know the answer to this. It's about
it's £79 a month plus VAT. But obviously, as you get the 3 membership, it's really only £49 a month plus VAT. But yeah, you will pay DocFlight £79 plus VAT per month, and you will automatically be enrolled in DCBN membership at the same time. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting new partnership for both of us.
And I think, for those that are just starting up, do you think it's worth getting this DocFlight? Because it's quite a big expenditure. Is it good for startups, or does it need to be a certain size, do you think, Diane?
I think ideally it's going to be for a business that is bringing on a team, because that's when things really get crucial around documentation. We certainly believe that a solo cleaner should have terms and conditions in place. I'm not sure that DocFlight, the mid package, is right for you right now, but DCBN membership is going to cover the documentation that you need. But you know what? If you want to grow your business, then getting that automation in early is actually a really good thing, because it will save you so much time later as you do grow.
And you know what I find? So we obviously have staff, office staff. I think that if you can put software in that stop you having to get office staff and allow you to have control and manage it yourself, it saves you so much money. And people go, oh, well, it's quite expensive. You look at it, and £79 plus VAT sounds expensive. Well, as someone who has staff, I can tell you
that that's more expensive.
What's that? 6 hours a week, 6 hours a month that's going to cost you. And yeah, it racks up fast. And to be honest, employing staff is just, I'd rather have the software. As much as I love my staff and they're brilliant, my staff now operate the software when you get to a certain size. But like at the beginning, if you can avoid taking on an admin team, it definitely will save you money.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, we're really excited about the new partnership. And so we've been partnered with DocFlight for a while, but this is a next level, if you like, in terms of us working with them and supporting each other to help our industry, I suppose.
Perfect. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, we ought to probably tell DocFlight that we're about to release this for them. So thank you very much. And let's see how much trouble we get into. Yeah, they can find out the hard way. All right, bye-bye.